Hello and welcome again to Potluck Prime Picks. This is a video about the uh, Exceed Fighting System game, which I should mention at the beginning of these. But it is a follow-up to the Potluck event we hold in the Breakfast Club Discord server, which is an event we have monthly-ish where everyone can choose a custom character they think is cool, bring it to the tournament, fight against other people, trade it off between games, and at the end, everyone votes on a character they thought was especially cool or one they want to learn a bit more about. And so we have this video, this interview, as a follow-up to that vote to show off Angie, who is an original character developed by CrimsonFoxtail, who we have here. Hello.
Hello, yes, I am CrimsonFoxtail. She, her pronouns. Hello.
Yeah, this is actually the second time we've had you here. I believe Felicity also won a previous event. So
Yes, of my 4 magical girls so far.
yeah, nicely developing sets, very popular. I
Yes.
believe in that video we did talk a bit about your general philosophy for the season. I don't quite remember it, so you can remind me if you want. But additionally, if you have any additional context you want to provide about Angie, how she compares to Felicity or any of these other characters, now's probably a good time.
All right, so for the whole set, my answer honestly right now might change based on what I said last time, but my OCs, these magical girls, they are. Where do I even start with this? I don't want to get into the whole story, but the idea is just that they live in a slightly futuristic version of our world, and these magical girls are all protectors of a place called Lodestar City in Texas. City's fictional, the state is real. Anyway, 3 years ago, magic started happening. People started turning into magical girls or monsters, and then the magical girls kind of banded together and made their own little organization called the Association of Magical Guardians. And now they all just run their own little businesses fighting monsters. And Angie here is one of them. She's actually one of the more important magical girls because she's one of the first ones who appeared in the city, and she's also one of the strongest. She's actually just some random corporate heiress who just got magical powers and decided, screw my business degree, I'm gonna go save lives by punching monsters. But then she got too good at punching monsters and she got saddled with a whole bunch of responsibilities.
It goes back to
And
business.
yes, and she used to be on a super awesome team with Felicity and someone I haven't made a custom for yet, Henrietta. But then they fought all the super big disaster monsters and got real famous. And then Felicity decided she wanted to go be an idol instead. Henrietta went on some quest to kill all monsters forever. And Angie just wanted to run a business and the Magical Girl organization. So she started her own little office, and she hired these 2 losers, Kafka and Shelley, the protagonists of the story. And that's where the story starts, with these 3 running a Magical Girl office together. 2 novices and their cool horse-themed boss.
Nice little relationship tree.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for the set overall, it uses the Blaze Blue set because I just think it's very cool, an anime dramatic kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the Guilty Gear season was not out yet when I started planning this, even though all of these characters I made up after the Guilty Gear season came out, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. There's kind of 2 different Slayer Dashers, so.
And there's kind of I don't have too much of a specific focus for the set, but at least for these characters, I wanted to focus on aggressive play styles and resource management, just because the idea I wanted was that all these magical girls have magic, so they're spending resources to empower all of their abilities.
Yeah.
Although Angie is a little different from the rest of them because lore-wise, her magical power is the ability to reshape the ground beneath her, which has a whole bunch of weird caveats. But the main thing is that if she ever uses it, she'll probably destroy whatever street she's standing on, and that costs lots of money, so she doesn't do that, and instead she just beats down monsters with her bare fists.
Pretty efficient. Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from that, from your description, I got the sense that, especially compared to Kafka and Shelly? Yeah, Shelly.
Yeah, Shelly.
She's definitely like one of the more experienced fighters, so that sense of like being efficiency, just being able to beat people up, uh, I assume ties into this UA that gives you a lot of money potentially.
Yeah, her UA. As the veterans, Felicity and Angie both have abilities where they want to spend gauge, which is like meant to be a little more advanced from Kafka and Shelly, whose abilities spend force.
I see.
So Angie and Felicity have to like actually get some gauge first to get their game plan started. So a little harder to play,
Yeah,
but still probably pretty easy. And Angie's ability: when you initiate a strike, you may spend a gauge, and your attack gets you hit draw two.
hmm
It is notably the aggressive version of Felicity's, where she spends a gauge to move one, then draw two. Because Felicity can just do it in neutral, get more cards. Angie actually has to keep attacking and keep hitting to get her money.
yeah, not as guaranteed. And
Yeah, and the idea
yeah,
the idea behind these two is that like because they're the veterans, sort of these are the red and blue Shotos of a previous generation. So
I
you have
see.
like the offensive one and the defensive one.
Yeah. And speaking of shadows, this is also kind of you pulled out Jin earlier. This is sort of a less guaranteed version of Jin's UA, which
Yeah, so the reasoning behind her ability where she spends gauge to draw two is that I wanted these characters' gauge to always be some kind of metaphor for their powers.
hmm,
And for Kafka, it's like the more gauge she has, the more silk she has, more spider silk she has around her to work with
yeah,
for pulling wacky tricks. For Shelly, the more gauge she has, the more energy she has stored up to release in like big explosive bursts.
the charging.
For Felicity, the more gauge she has, the more electricity and the more coins she has around the arena to like increase her power and mobility. For
Pretty
Angie, her gauge is a little more abstract in that it's like her sort of stability. The
good. I
idea
see.
I had was that like I mean her power is like based around the ground, so she's very stable. She's sort of got like high stamina, and the idea is that as she attacks, she sort of uses her magic to ground herself and keep her feet on the ground so that like she's never off balance. When she punches you, like it's not like she's throwing all of her weight behind it and then she needs a moment to recover. She's like punching you very quick, and then before you can recover, she's already ready to throw out another attack.
Yeah,
So she can kind of just go unrelenting beat down style on you with her bare hands and feet.
yeah.
And yeah, I did bring out Jin and Geo as characters who are similar because Jin draws two, but it's on an after effect. So he doesn't even need to hit. He just needs to swing at all and not get stunned.
Yeah,
But Angie, her extra draw comes from like hitting you so hard that her attacks kind of have extra block stun or whatever. So, and I want there to be like more of a weight to her attacks. She needs to pay something and then she gets paid for landing that, which is also why I didn't go with Geo, because Geo's Exceed ability is like basically Angie's bowed power.
yeah,
But on front side, Geo just doesn't have any commitment. And I didn't want that because like Angie's not just throwing out attacks mindlessly and thinking, oh yeah, if it doesn't hit, it'll just work out. Like she needs to have she needs to have a real plan with her offense. She's like she fights with her bare hands, but she's not entirely just like a dumb brute kind of character. She's a rich, well-educated girl. She runs into battle and like she has a plan of attack. That plan is very simple, where it's find a weakness and then keep punching it until the opponent is dead. But she's doing it in like a very intentional manner.
yeah. Like again, she's very experienced, so it's like everything's deliberate. Everything has like commitments to it. I guess, so it makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh yeah, I should probably get into the whole thing about how she's horse themed,
oh sure,
and
importance.
um. So all my magical girls are kind of inspired by different media, which may or may not actually involve magical girls. And with Angie, she's actually inspired a bit by Uma Musume Pretty Derby, the game about raising Japanese racehorses, but it's like teenage girls.
Yeah,
And it's because of that game, the mechanics of it kind of intrigued me because it's a racing game where you don't like actually do the racing, you just train a horse girl and then have her do the races.
Hmm.
But they make a big deal of like strategy in that game with like how your character uses their skills and their stamina because your horse can't just like sprint full speed from start to finish of the race. They'll run out of stamina and die. So
Gotta pace yourself.
you have to use like different techniques and stuff to sort of guide your horse girl to know when to save her stamina, when to like push forward and get in position for the final spurt, and then blow all of her remaining resources on sprinting to the finish. And Angie is kind of like that in that like her gauge and her hand size are meant to be her resources
Hmm.
because like it sort of leads to a bunch of different styles. You can play normally, build up a bunch of gauge, and then spend it on this ability to just relentlessly beat down your opponent forever. And then once they're in low enough range, you can sort of sprint to the end by hitting them with a big ultra that kills them. Or you can do sort of a front runner style where you don't really wait for your gauge to build up. You maybe get something by playing on defense correctly, but if you just keep spending gauge over and over and landing hits, you can just sort of stay ahead of your opponent in resources, in hand size. Just keep punching them and like make them struggle to catch up to you. But you of course run the risk that if you ever miss an attack, you have no gauge and your combo just ends there. And if the opponent builds up too much gauge, maybe they will be able to overtake you with their big payouts and kill you. So you
Yeah.
have to like really commit to either like locking down the opponent with relentless attacks or like biding your time until you can just go on one big sprint to the finish.
Yeah. We usually have like the person who brought a character to the potluck as like a third person on this interview, but this time I was the person who brought Angie, so uh but I did definitely notice that there were a lot of different play styles that this kind of ability supported. Like you're describing, you can choose whether you want to just go for your quick buildup of your hands, just get your resources in and try to play out some of the interesting like advantage chains you have access to, which we'll probably talk about later. Or you can just like save up for either your ultras when you have a lot of gauge, or just like cashing in all your resources when the opponent doesn't really have good answers to them. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of flexibility there, I think, which is cool.
Yeah. The ideal is that like the opponent runs out of hand and gauge and maybe even like you got hit by it, you just got blown up for like 10 damage, but it's like, okay, you have 2 cards left, you have no gauge. I'm just going to keep slamming cards in your face until you're dead now.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
that's the final stretch. Um,
Yes.
Also on a related note, I believe one of the previous potluck events had a box team design by Dolphin, which also did draw a lot of cards. So I do wonder if there's a bit of like forced design lineage forming here.
Yeah, I did actually in that Discord server, I did once go on like a whole little ramble about theoretical Uma Musume Exceed designs, like sort of converting the stats from that game into Exceed stats and like trying to figure out how different strategies apply to Exceed.
Yeah,
And I only made like one character for Uma Musume specifically, and she's just a first draft. But then I went and like actually applied those principles to Angie instead.
yeah. It's always really cool when you get to kind of like design conversation happening.
Yeah,
The web. Yeah,
yeah, but that other Sakura Bakushin O deck is probably a little bit inspired by what I've like said about Uma Musume converted to Exceed
yeah.
because horse racing is actually exactly like fighting games.
Oh, is this true?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, and Angie also has an Exceed side, which I should probably mention. But
that's true. Yeah,
honestly, I'm not sure anyone ever used it.
I did not see
It
its
used to
coming
be
soon. Yeah,
stronger. Yeah, it used to be stronger, and then I nerfed it, and like, um, it exists mainly as a placeholder because one thing I wanted to do with this set was like have the magical girls have like their cool powered up states on their Exceed side,
mm,
and for Angie, there's a fun little visual trick here where like if you look on her normal one, she has that little like wand with the heart on it on her hip.
yeah.
That is what magical girl weapons normally look like when they're not being used. And then on her Exceed side, like that wand is gone because now that
There's
is
a
her
hammer.
giant hammer. Yeah. And like that's her powered up state. It's just actually using her weapon.
I see.
Once her like once she's serious, she's just actually using the powers she's given and not just fighting like a normal person.
Breaking up the ground.
Yeah. Although her hammer causes massive collateral damage, so she doesn't usually use it.
Yeah,
But the Exceed ability itself, like I said, it's honestly just a placeholder at this point.
that's
Because
fair.
it's like when you initiate a strike, you draw cards. It's basically free use of your ability, but you already spent gauge to access this. So
Yeah,
it's a little redundant. You do get to move one. If you look down at the overdrive,
yeah.
you get to close the retreat one. So it makes like getting into position for attacking a little easier.
I think it definitely
But
is a relevant upgrade. Like, she cares about positioning a decent amount, as we'll see, and free money is always cool. You're like basically getting the down payment, but if you have like a deck setup where you're just like getting a bunch of EXs off with that, then it does feel like breaking up the ground, I think.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just the overdrive is like the actual secret benefit to it, and that does not look very flashy, so I don't think most people go for it.
that's fair. And
I'm
you do
not
have a lot of.
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what I want to do with it. I might buff it up again, but at the same time, like from what I've seen, her ability is the main outlet for Gauge, and I'm honestly fine with that because like that's exactly what I wanted her to be.
Mhm.
If she just sticks to punching with her bare hands instead of using the hammer, like that's fine. That's expected. That is her character. Something I've also considered though is like actually making the kicker way stronger, but I don't
Could
know.
also be
Maybe
interesting.
like if you have 4 gauge but no cards in hand, maybe just instantly refills. Although she doesn't really need an instant refill for multiple reasons, so
Yeah, yeah. Like she has
but yeah.
other ways to spend her gauge, so she has a UA. Her ultras are really good, and she has like a lot of force costs on her boost, which she might want to like divert some of her gauge too. So,
Yeah.
uh, just to get into that, is there a part of it you want to talk about first, the specials or ultras?
I want to talk about Gallant Bloom last.
Makes sense.
The first one I should probably talk about is High Gun.
Yeah,
Although it's actually a very boring card. It exists.
sound
I
good.
think it's actually like pretty good, but it's also like pretty simple and solid and a little boring. Uh, the main reason it exists is that like Angie's ability is good if you have those fast on curve attacks like Assault and Grasp, but at range 2, your on curve attack is Cross, which makes you retreat 3, which is not good for a character who wants to brawl. She flings herself back out of the fight instead of like staying in. So I was like, okay, she needs a fast attack at range 2 that goes in instead.
Makes sense.
In an original version, this did not gain advantage, but then like I just wanted to make it spicier, so now it does, and now
Yeah,
it's just like a very small, short assault where she just uppercuts you in the jaw real quick.
definitely
And
does
that's
help a
very
lot.
like
Uh,
yeah,
especially because she has some other sources of advantage, namely this boost, so she can kind of like get a bit of a combination going there.
yeah. Advantage is like really strong with her, just because like if she hits you with advantage, she also instantly draws more cards, so she has something to
Yeah,
follow up with. But it's just like I acknowledge that this is very strong with how it synergizes with your kit, but at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, that's a card I put just because she needed something to do at range 2.
makes sense.
And then another fun little trick though is that because Angie is like related to all these other characters, uh I'm gonna secretly make this video also about Kafka because Kafka
The
Kafka's deck
animation.
came first, but like I deliberately drew these two cards to sort of imply they're doing similar moves.
Yeah, definitely see it.
As you can see, they're both doing like uppercuts with Angie's fist and Kafka's needle. Because Kafka actually stole most of her moves from Angie, or
Oh,
learned them, one or the two.
inspiration.
although, yeah, although Kafka's is like a proper Shoryuken ripoff, and Angie's is just a quick jab. They also both
Yeah,
have +1 speed now strike on their boosts.
that's true.
That was not meant to be intentional, but it was just like, why not? Because like, hey, I'm putting this speed boost on the fast card, so why not just put the speed boost on the fast card again?
Yeah, I was actually going to mention. It seems like I guess it's only really Kafka and Shelly who have true DPS, but they have like speed 7 options. Mostly as a role. Anji doesn't get too much above curve other than discard, which is good, and her ultra. But I think it's kind of compensated for by the fact that she does have easier access like EX attacks. She has this +1
Yeah,
speed now strike.
Yeah, Angie has like she's both meant to be more aggressive and like because she just always has cards in hand. She kind of has to have her power tone down a little bit.
That's fair, yeah.
Oh yeah, and the boost overtake. Uh, something I should say now is that just like how Angie was inspired by Uma Musume, all of her boosts on her specials are named like around horse racing, sort of.
Oh,
They're not all horse racing terms, but they're at least like overtake. That's
yeah,
when you run past the other racers. When you like just overtake someone, just go past them.
going
Uh,
fast.
so this boost, I think it's also like boring but really important for her kit. +1 speed, now strike, add this to your gauge. Like, if your moves just aren't quite fast enough, if your opponent has something fast, like, you know, if Kafka is standing at range 2 with Sunrise Skewer, which is faster than High Gun, you can. I mean, you could, like, in High Gun specifically, you could just play them both copies together as an EX, get 7 speed, punch Kafka in the face. But assuming some other situation, like, you can play overtake, get +1 speed, and now you match this, and Kafka can't just play it on defense
Yeah,
thoughtlessly.
yeah,
But also, the part where it adds itself to your gauge means that you can use it to charge your gauge faster if you want like those big payouts, or if you want like more stamina. But at the same time, it does have a force cost, which I think hopefully makes this more of an interesting decision
yeah. With how RUA
because
works, like worst case, it's at least like a weird delayed change cards action, which is fun.
yeah,
There's definitely
because like there are
benefits.
two ways you can use this depending on where you pay the gauge from. I
Yeah,
mean, where you pay the cost from. If you pay it from your gauge, it refunds that gauge you spent, which makes this basically just +1 speed now strike.
yeah,
You can just ignore the add this to your gauge part unless you somehow whiff. But if you pay from hand, then you do actually just get like +1 speed and extra gauge. But that's also committing like up to 3 cards from hand, assuming there's no other EX, because this, your attack, and the cost.
yeah,
So like you're actually eating pretty hard into your hand size. You can use it like if you have too many cards, or you can just really gamble that you'll have something to do after you hit when you lose half your hand using this.
dynamic boost like that is always fun because again, since you are drawing cards on hit timing, you can go over the normal max hand size. So sometimes you just need to throw out 3 things so you can play neutral again.
Yeah, that is honestly a consideration, like with her ability, because she can overdraw cards. It's like I have to give her boosts that either have costs or make her strike, because like if she gets too many cards in hand, she's sort of in a almost berserker state where if she doesn't attack, she's just gonna burn out a lot of that fuel. She's gonna have to discard a lot of cards back down to max hand size. So
Yeah,
boosts like this kind of let her push that advantage a little bit further. That you actually live out the fantasy of having all those cards.
yeah. Speaking of fast attacks, we have Dawn play.
Yes, Dawn play. Oh, I didn't even mention the other thing, which is that before I move on, I should mention the names of these specials and her ultras. They're all American racehorses.
Oh,
Although
I
I
see.
do not actually know their records, I just looked them up on Wikipedia. There's like one exception to that I know, but uh, yes. If these cards ever became an official project, it would probably be a licensing nightmare,
Oh no,
and I would probably have to change everything into knockoffs. But
that's
for now,
unfortunate.
enjoy this. Like, yeah, there's a horse out there named High Gun, and another one Dawn Play.
I do really like the ultra names, but
Yeah,
that's later.
I'm glad of those, but those are further down the line. Anyway, Dawn Play, her fast dive. I have a problem, and that's that I love giving characters with speed 5, range 4 options you can play turn 1, because I love just jamming that right in, like lock in. Like, you pick the character, you play that strike right away.
Yeah, I know
Uh,
it was a active consideration during season five's development that everyone has like something to do turn one, so definitely
yeah,
appeals Blaze Bluish in that way.
it's important, especially for Angie, because like she needs to be able to get gauge easily. So while you can cross out, like you do give up positioning, and you can't just like dive into her. Like, yeah, she needs something where she can threaten to say, I'm going to attack you turn 1 and get gauge, and you now need to do something to stop me from getting that online. Dawnplay itself, though, I don't think is actually that. Okay, it's another card where it's like, I don't think it's that good, but also it definitely is good.
Yeah. I personally probably
because
underplayed it too, but yeah.
because like it's mostly the reward you get for hitting it, because if the opponent is just standing in the middle of the arena, or even if they're like standing in the starting position, you hit them for 3 power, you push them 2, that's it. You don't really get a lot out of that. If they play focus, you'd like ignore the armor, which is cool, but it's still only like 3 power and you're still trading down. But if the opponent is cornered and like you push them against the wall, then it becomes speed 5, power 5, range 4, which means that like you can punch the enemy into the wall and that'll actually hurt quite a bit. And you add like any kind of power boost on that, and it becomes kind of scary.
Yeah. You do have Power Strike, you have your EX attacks. I don't know if you saw a funny interaction that came up during this potluck is that there's a custom for Blitz tank who's too wide, but it starts at range 4, which means that this actually hits for 5 at the beginning of the round. It's kind of a jump scare for my opponents.
I did see that, and I think it's funny because to get a little sidetracked, one of my main inspirations from my magical girls was Sympho gear, and there's like a semi-famous scene in that where like one of the main characters who does fight with her bare hands instead of any magical girl weapon, she like fights a tank and she punches its shells out of the air and then rips it in half with her bare hands. And I told my girlfriend Angie, who knows all this inspiration, like, yep, it's canon. I have a magical girl here who fights with her bare hands. So if you put her up against the tank, just like Hibiki from Sympho gear, she would tear it apart.
The
She would
Tank
just
Slayer.
punch it over. Yeah. But yeah, also getting back to Exceed itself, the hit push 2 is actually a little useful because like even if you don't get the power bonus, you do push the opponent further towards the corner. And like if you play this turn 1 and the opponent plays cross, you still get that situation even if you don't hit.
Gets position, yeah.
And that's sort of like a sub theme I wanted with Angie. Because like I said, she's not just like swinging wildly. She has a plan as she attacks you relentlessly. And part of that plan is to shove you into the corner, because once you're in there, she has control over like the positioning. You can only get as far away from her as she will let you, and she's glad to just like keep punching you into the wall. She wants that kind of control.
Makes sense.
It's sort of a subtle thing with her where it's like she's not just like a brawler. She's actually a rich girl, and even if she's trying to be a frontline fighter, she mostly knows like sort of taking things over, being the authority. She wants to be the one in charge, setting the pace for the interaction, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So she really wants to shove you to the corner and have control over the fight. And just like with High Gun, Kafka has a ripoff of that too, with Horizon Stinger.
Mm-hmm.
Although, since Kafka does not use blunt weapons, and she doesn't have quite the same leg strength as the horse girl over here, she has to like make do with making little rapier out of silk and pulling herself along with silk threads.
Yeah, it's kind of reflected.
Kafka's actually used to have the hit push 2 gain 2 power thing, but as you can see by Kafka's deck, like she can push pull 1 on front side. She gains +2 power if she slams you to the wall on backside. And I was like, wait a second, I just wrote a card that does like 7 power if you're exceeded.
Yeah.
For like above curve, and I'm like, wait, no, Kafka can't have that. But then I was like, Dawn play, the version I had, it was like 4 speed, 4 power, gain advantage. And I was like, wait, what if I just take out the advantage and shove the thing that Kafka's version used to have onto that? So this is like secretly the other half of Horizon Stinger.
I see.
They're like actually kind of the same thing, just slightly different.
Yeah. As it works nicely because you kind of still build your Dawn play with Kafka's UA, so.
Yeah. And also, the names were meant to connect a little because, like, not gonna bring up all the names, but Kafka's attacks often named after like the sky, the sun, time of day, sunrise skewer, horizon stinger. So dawn play, that's like meant to be like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's a move that Kafka absolutely just copied.
inspired.
And just like with Horizon Stinger, I put a power boost with a small reload on it as a boost trample. I didn't try very hard with that name. I didn't try very hard with that effect, honestly.
That's fair.
It's just kind of there. This boost, it's all right. If you hit with it, you get to push the opponent a little further towards the corner. +1 power is just good because Angie can likely set up an EX attack.
Yeah,
So she's like just getting more stats, but it's kind of just a thing you play when you're not in a good range to play Dawn play and you want more cards, more reward in your next hit, you just throw that down.
yeah.
That's it.
It's a boost I was a bad of. It's one of those kinds of attacks that pressures your opponent to strike into you, and you get resources. So
Yeah. Never quite sure how to value push or pull, which is weird because I made a character based like entirely around
yeah,
it, but I'm like, I don't feel like this boost is very exciting, even though it is also like very strong, probably. You can do some pretty nasty things with it, but at the same time, I'm always just like, it's just push or pull one, it's
yeah,
fine. Although you do also threaten to, like, if the opponent tries to play sweep, you can throw them away with grasp.
yeah. And if it's
So
like saying that's if you're actually threatening something with the push and pull, and the opponent wants to play focus, then you can definitely play it around that with the special we'll talk about eventually.
yeah, there's definitely something where, like, if she plays this and you play focus, you might just get baited into dying, but that is definitely a different thing. Anyway, next is Jules Reward.
Yeah, pretty similar to the normal
List.
projectile.
This is secretly just Noel's optic barrel.
Yeah.
Like, no, I changed one thing, which is that it closes instead of advances.
I didn't realize that.
Which is, yeah. So the attack itself, range 2 to 3, power 5. It's slow but has guard, so it's like Angie's main ranged option. And
Yeah,
if she's too far away, she can spend a force to increase the range. This is actually one of her few actual magic attacks, as you can see, because she's like stabbing her fingers and hitting the opponent with a pillar from the ground.
yeah.
That is like actual magic she does.
Wow.
And the idea I had was that it's like, in a fighting game, it would be like a fixed distance projectile, but she has like a close and a far version,
Yeah,
which is what spending the force comes from.
I think similar to
And then,
optic power works in Source as well.
yeah. And then it's like, if the opponent is far away and they have a fast projectile and Dawn play can't get you in, Jules Reward might be able to, because it has a bit of guard there.
Yeah. So
It
yeah,
can be overpowered a little easily, but like it's still like the good defensive option.
yeah. You have like your natural move don't move mix up where like dive stuns this, but it's outsped by downplay, and sweep focus can be not run into with Jules Ward. So
Yeah. It's her main like distance tool, which is also why it has a force cost if you actually want to use it at like a long range. So that like if you do use it to just probe the enemy's defenses, you're still having to pay for it. It's not just like free.
yeah,
You're you're spending money throwing the road at them. And yeah, after it closes, you can only close 2. I don't remember. I don't think there's a reason why it's specifically closed 2. It could probably close up to 2, but it just is closed 2.
sometimes
It isn't advanced like Noel's version for a bit of a silly reason,
Mhm.
which is that the entire idea behind Angie's kit is that she's gaining power from the ground. And like, to me, closing is usually moving along the ground, running forward. Advancing is often like jumping or doing like quick dashes.
Yeah, like dive.
Yeah, but Angie, she's a bit of a heavyweight. She has no reason to jump if her powers come from the ground. So all of her movement is just closing. She never advances. She does not jump past the opponent. If she can't get enough room, like she's just gonna keep punching you back. She's not gonna jump over you.
Yeah,
So
it does have pace setter if she really needs to get out of the corner, for, like practical reasons,
yeah.
I imagine. But
Oh, that's later. But also, yeah, this does mean Jules' Reward has a somewhat unique like weakness in that if you manage to get to range 1 and dodge it without stunning her somehow, she doesn't get the option to like pass you like other characters might who have like advance on their projectiles.
Yeah.
Like actually, there's an example of what I'm talking about with there's a glitch going on. Let me.
Oh,
Here we go. Don't worry about it. I think the glitch is only on mine. With this card, ignore all the other text on it. That's not important right now. After advance up to 2.
yeah, yeah.
If Felicity uses this and you play dive and you jump at her, you like hit her, she misses, but she gets like if she was in the corner, she gets the option to slip out of it, so she can kind of keep on top of things. If you call out Jules' reward with dive, Angie is still stuck wherever she was standing.
Yeah. Don't get the
Also, though, you can
compensation.
see as another little visual trick, these two characters have like their projectiles are framed very similarly, where it's like
Yeah.
them in the foreground and the projectile in the background, just posing differently because Angie's all nonsense, no nonsense business. She's just snapping her finger, putting in the bare minimum effort to hit you with a rock, while Felicity, who's very, very flashy, loves attention, she's doing a cool little pose there to like play up the attack.
Yeah.
That was a fun thing to draw. I really like doing these kind of relationships. That's like something that other people probably don't get to do as much with their cards because not a lot of people are like doing custom art. But
Drawing's
with
hard.
me, I think it's like a really fun trick with the characters, like sort of imply relationships between them, like with how they fight.
Yeah.
Because these 4 characters who I made so far, all of them are like fairly close friends in a way. They have like lots of influences from each other. So there's going to be a lot of overlap. That's not actually going to happen as much in later cards in this whole season because the other characters are like in different factions. But for these girls, I think it's like a fun little twist. Like if you fight these characters, you put down these 2 cards. It's like, oh look, they're kind of similar. That's because they are partners.
Yeah. I can't speak to the art side of things because drawing is hard, as I said. It's kind of a similar thing to like I brought Box in earlier and just like the kind of horse design conversation going on. There's a similar thing you can have like even within your own kind of set of customs where you're communicating that these characters are related through the similarity of their attacks and how they look. It's a really cool thing about like developing a coherent set like this, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, the boost on Jules' reward. Once again, this is another boost where I'm like, I guess she needs this because I want her to feel like a Shoto have. She can always like have some option to play, and measured step. I kind of made up the name that honestly has nothing to do with like horses, but I figured like it's measured. It's like she knows how to step. It's something she has practiced. As weird as that sounds, like you know, she's very deliberate about her movements. But anyway, move 1, draw 1, strike. It's basically mix up from season 6,
Yeah.
honestly.
I
And
think
it's just like,
yeah.
yeah. The difference between this and season 6 mix up is that for mix up you draw after you put down your strike.
I don't know why they did
But
that.
I don't like that. I think it's more fun to draw and be like, oh, I could use this card. So
Yeah, I guess it
honestly,
so
I'm not sure.
options, but...
Honestly, I'm not sure it deserves the draw, but I just put it there for fun, and no one has told me to take it off. So I'm like, yeah, it's there. Just you can have an extra card, like she needs them.
She's gonna get them anyway. She has ways.
Yeah. Yeah, since this card is like the long range thing that's used at kind of specific ranges, it's like, okay, here's her tool for just moving a little bit in case you're at a range where this isn't good, but like you want to hit something else. Also, just for like a little design source thing, this is also a reason why Jules' reward has that because Jin has a slow projectile that also has like push 1, draw 1, take another action.
Oh, I see.
Although, yeah, Jin's only pushes. So I don't know why he's just like that as a person, I guess. But Angie's, you can close or retreat 1 because she's very versatile, but you do still have to strike no matter what because she is the aggressive one.
Yeah.
So if you put that down, you are committing to an attack no matter what. You cannot just like quick step like other characters in this set.
Yeah.
Kafka and Felicity mostly. They both have like move 1 and then take another action, but Angie, she can only strike out of it.
Boxed in a bit.
Yes.
Yeah. The movement is cool because it kind of helps convey that idea that she wants to always be in control of the positioning that I brought up earlier. And something that's Ice Blade also does, because like the effective range band is 2 to 5, is that it can be a fun cross catcher at range 2. It's like surprisingly consistent unless the opponent specifically plays assault on defense, which isn't too common. So
Yeah.
definitely adds to her
Yeah,
moveset there.
yeah, that's definitely like a thing you can do, which is very intentional for reasons I'm going to procrastinate on as I secretly rearrange these characters to talk about a different card
I
first.
didn't see it.
And that brings us to the next card, Primanetta, which, okay, weird thing. This one doesn't have these next few cards. Like, don't have any analog to other characters' cards. These are actually Angie originals.
This one does.
The Primanetta is a card that is once again a card where I'm like, she needs something in this shape. I guess this works.
Yeah, the slow side.
This card changed a lot though. It actually used to be a punch in the original sketches. I don't feel like bringing that out now because I don't remember where I left those files.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it used to be like the idea was a Rekka, and she just sort of powers through whatever your attack is and like punches you back. But now it's a kick. I don't know how this has the stats it does for how it works, but like I imagine she's like it's a very defensive attack, so I imagine she's like sort of spinning around to roll with your attack and then countering with a heel kick.
Yeah.
So this card's a little funky because if you initiated +2 armor, which I think makes it a little weird because like on defense, it kind of sucks. It has before close 2, so it hits from range 1 to 3, so it's not like horrible. And it does have a niche as like if you're at a distance, you can use it to tank a hit with guard and then close in. But even if you do land a hit, you're only dealing 4 power. And like if the opponent plays grasp and you play this in response, like that's kind of fine. But if they play sweep, oops, they have 6 power, you have 5 guard, this gets stunned. And even if it didn't, you would only be hitting for 4 power. But if you initiated +2 armor, that means that like it shores that up a bit, because now if you trade with sweep, like on offense, they deal 4 and then you deal 4 back. And also that pushes you up to a 7 effective guard because +2 armor, which means they have to deal like 7 power to be able to break that 5 guard and stun you.
Yeah,
so it actually manages to still trade with EX sweep. And even if you like whiff it, if the opponent plays cross into it at range 1, you still get the armor, so that's cool.
Value.
Like this is a card you can really use to sort of probe the opponent's defenses. You can throw it out somewhat, just like ignorantly, just see what they're going to do. It's not like a very high reward card on its own, but I think it's like important for just having a card you can throw down and just sort of like see what happens. Like, well, your real victory here is not landing the card. It's making the opponent play another card to respond to it. Once whatever they respond to this with, that card's now gone, and like now you have your options to blow them up, knowing that response they played is no longer in play.
Yeah, it's good trading value. Sweep itself is like notably a really good normal, so having a special copy is sometimes scary, but I think this has like a really interesting set of properties that set it apart. It's like encouraging to initiate with it. It has the delta is more spread across power and armor than just being pure power. So
yeah, it also has draw 1, push 1, mostly for setting up the opponent into range 2 for reasons that will once again be elaborated on later. And like it's kind of weird because like if you play at range 3, you go in, you kick the opponent, and now they're at range 2. If you play it at range 1, you don't close anywhere, and then you kick them to range 2. So no matter where you play this card, if you hit, you're at range 2. Yeah. Actually, if the opponent plays cross and moves out to range 4, like from range 1, you close 2. The opponent is now at range 2.
Yeah.
You just throw this down, and your opponent is now at range 2 no matter what.
Very reliable.
Yes, and it has hit draw 1, which I kind of put there because I'm like, it's like sweep. It should have a little bit of economy bonus. And then I realized that like if you play this and you use her ability, you draw 3 cards if you hit. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. Let's leave it in.
Big value.
It's one of those things that's like, no one's told me not to do it, so I'm just leaving it in.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Mentioned that.
also,
Oh yeah.
oh, I just also wanted to say that on the art side of things, first of all, drawing kicks is really hard because Angie's making some really weird poses.
Yeah,
And second, uh, this sort of sweeping effect, that's actually like the first time I did it, and I think it looks really nice.
yeah. It's cool. I also really
Yeah.
like the perspective on the dress there, kind of like making its own spiral inside of the sweep.
Yeah, something I haven't brought up is that um I decided Angie's outfit has like lots of plaid striping on it because it makes her look like more of a kind of country girl. Um, that was a terrible decision.
Oh,
And on basically all of these cards, except maybe Jules Reward, I have to think seriously about like cloth physics, and it
yeah.
sucks. It looks great, I think, honestly, even though I like
I
messed
agree.
up in places. But like, see, it looks great because like the plaid lines kind of draw out the shape of her skirt and her sleeves,
Yeah.
and it looks really cool. It's also a pain. Never do this. Never draw clothing. It is hell.
Unfortunate.
You have to figure out all these different like folds and twists and stuff, and I don't think I'm even that good at it.
Got to get through
There's definitely room
references.
for improvement. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it came out very well.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was just gonna say like pace setter. I kind of mentioned it earlier is like your one way to get out of corners if you need to.
yeah, pace setter. It is an attack that is meant to establish control once again, but in a way where it doesn't involve directly striking or stats. Because you get your choice of movement. You can actually pass the opponent. It's the only way she has in any of these cards that lets you pass the opponent. And so you can establish the position you want, and then at the start of your next turn, you add this to your gauge. Which means that after playing this, if the opponent doesn't strike into you, you just gonna get free resources.
It's money.
So yeah, the idea from a horse racing perspective is that she's running into a position she wants, and then she's just gonna keep running, and like now you need to do something about that. She's challenging you to spend resources to stop her. And if you don't, she's just gonna run away with it. Like uh the specific reason it's tied on Prima Netta is because I figured it was a really, really obvious turn one play to boost this, advance to 3, stand at range 1, and now threaten this card because it hits range 1 to 3, has decent defenses, and like if the opponent does not strike into you, you get gauge, and then you strike with this and get 3 cards.
Yeah. Around such you're locked in a
Yeah.
place where you can't really like cross out of sweep likes, so you kind of just have to deal with it.
Yeah, like she plays this turn 1, she can lock you in, just put you right against the corner. Now it's on you to like get past her.
Yeah.
And if you have her cornered, she can just do the same where she advances past you, puts you closer to the corner, and now you have to deal with that. Like if you don't, she's gonna get gauge. She's gonna keep punching you back into the corner, and she's gonna take control. I did also realize of something a little dumb about this card in retrospect.
Mhm.
Um, overtake refers to passing someone. It
Oh,
is
I see.
not the one card she has that allows her to pass someone. But at the same time, I think these cards are like thematically locked in enough that like I can't just change the names or anything.
Yeah. I
It's just sort of a funny little quirk of these cards,
until I
where the one
saw
card she has that passes the opponent isn't the one that says it passes the opponent.
yeah, until I saw the two names side by side, I saw the vision. It's probably fine.
Yeah, works out mechanically. Just don't think about the semantics.
Yeah.
Anyway, since there's no other cards to bring up with Prima Netta, it's a little bit of like an original invention. There's like a couple cards that are kind of like it, but this did kind of just end up being its own thing. But that means that there's nothing left, and I guess that means we
The
move on to Gallon Bloom, which is
moment.
the big card. Because so much of Angie's kit is not actually about winning strikes. You can win strikes, but it's about trading because she doesn't need to win immediate strikes. She just needs to hit you. And she gets cards, and you spend cards defending. And at some point, even if she's at a life deficit, she will have more cards than you, and she will have free reign to beat you up. That is like the game plan.
Yeah.
Just take as many hits, wait for the opponent to wear themselves out, beating you up, and then hit them back harder. Gallant Bloom is not that. It is it is the one thing she has to like win a strike cleanly, take a life advantage, and then now she's in the lead. And the entire reason why is because she is a horse girl, and I thought it would be funny for her to have an attack where she kicks you and it deals a ton of damage and kills you instantly if you're hit by it.
There's a joke with Ryu's donkey kick, which is sometimes it hits for one less damage, it has some guards. But
Yeah.
people keep trying to put on customs and it ends up having to be like a 2-3 gauge ultra. People are still willing to pay for it. So this isn't quite as safe as reliable, but like it still definitely kills people in a similar way.
Yes, because range 1, 5 power, 4 speed, before close 1, so it hits at range 2.
Yeah.
And then once you hit, you can spend 2 force, and you gain +2 power and push the opponent 3. Which means that, in actuality, this is range 2, or range 1 to 2, and hits for 7 power. So if you get hit by this, yeah. Everyone always spends a force, unless the opponent like blocks, because if they block, it's actually kind of a bad deal, because like they can spend less force. But yeah, this is her big payout. It is one of her highest damage buttons. It is her biggest force expenditure, because like everything else only costs like 1 force. This costs 2, so it's actually like kind of significant.
Yeah.
But it hits for 7 power, so if you try playing sweep against this, no you don't. All your bones are broken. You are now in the corner. Die.
If you have defending play somehow, you just get pushed out of range.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's beaten by faster attacks because unlike Ryu's donkey kick, this has no guard on it.
Yeah.
But anyway. here's the trick with Angie's kit. You can beat this by playing normally like grasp or cross, because those are the faster normals that hit at ranges 1 and 2. If you play grasp, she played Primanetta instead. She soaked your hit and then kicked you to range 2, where you're now in Gallant Bloom range. Mm-hmm. You played cross into her strike at range 2. Actually, she played high gun, and that stuns your cross, and now she's at range 1 and still can hit you with Gallant Bloom.
And
she didn't have high gun, and you still played cross. Actually, Jules Reward. She just catches up to you.
Yeah.
You go from range 2 to range 5. She's range 3. She can't immediately threaten Gallant Bloom, but she still tricked you. Like, all of these attacks, except for Dawnblade. Dawnblade's just, if you're not in Gallant Bloom range, punch them in the corner. Get closer.
Assault. That's
but, yeah. But yeah, High Gun, Jules Reward, Primanetta, all of those are meant to, like, eat up the opponent's defensive options. And then once you think you're clear, you just go for this. You kick them as hard as you can. And you just deal 7 damage. And that 7 damage, you can't block it with focus. But if you get any power bonuses from, like, anywhere, you can then, like, the opponent can't play focus into it. It'll break even that. Yeah. It's a very, very strong card. And, I mean, it better be. Because, like, I also, like, drew it to look like Angie's strongest card.
Yeah.
I was very, very deliberate about that. Yeah, the dark background with the big red impact star, like, if you look at all their other cards, they have, like, green backgrounds and brown impact stars, because that's supposed to be more a theme color.
Yeah.
So this one's, like, black and red to know that if she plays this, you don't even have to look at any of the numbers or the text. The instant you see this, you just know, like, she's trying to kill you for real.
Are you evocative?
Yeah. And then the boost stayer, it is apparently marked as an instant boost. Whoopsie daisy!
I didn't
ignore that. Yeah, I don't think most people pay attention to that, because, like, it still has the right color, and yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, stayer. This actually is a specific horse racing term, which is like, I mean, pace setter is too, but that's like just the horse that sets the pace.
Yeah.
The stayer is horse that stays. It's specifically like a long distance thing, which is like a very high stamina horse. So they do stay, but it's not like you're staying in one place. It's that they stay in first place. That's what it means. Like, they get ahead and then they just keep going. They have so much stamina. They never stop. And everyone else is like running out of stamina because of these long races, but no, they're just staying right up there. Although admittedly this boost isn't entirely based on that. It's because it has the you cannot be pushed or pulled text, and that makes you stay where you are.
True.
And I thought that was funny, because stayer. You just stay there.
Makes sense.
But the stats are also really good. I think I actually had someone tell me that like they were like unpopular opinion. I think Stayer is really good, and I'm surprised because like it is really good. What do you mean? Why is that an unpopular opinion?
It's because
Plus
it's on
one
the kick
power,
everyone
plus
wants to
4.
play.
It is on Gallant Bloom, but there's a
Yeah.
specific reason for that because plus 4 power, plus 4 guard, plus 1 power. Like it's easier to hit your attack, and you get more reward out of it.
Yeah.
I think it's less really solid.
It basically
And
removes all of Gallon Bloom's lost cases except Cross.
I should
Chess
point
game.
that out because like um Mei has a similar boost that only has its stats,
Oh yeah.
and it's on her Totsugeki, the range 4 speed 5 dash attack with the dolphin.
Yeah.
Uh
That also hits for 7.
so like yeah, I might have put that on Dawn play, but like no, this had to go in Gallant Bloom because if you have Stayer up and you play Gallant Bloom, like I said, like the things that you can beat Gallant Bloom with, assuming only normals, you have Grasp, Cross, and Assault, which all go faster, and Focus, which has enough defenses to tank the hit. uh, if you have Stayer up, Grasp cannot push her. She's just kicking you anyway. Assault doesn't break the guard, so she is kicking you anyway. Focus, now only with its 7 defenses, gets beaten by Gallant Bloom's 8 power. So that's not working either. Your only option is Cross
Yeah.
or Block.
And the rest
But
of her kit, as you mentioned, is working to push them into the corner where those don't work. Or cross at
yeah,
least.
push them into the corner, eat all their resources, and then if you play Stayer, you play Gallant Bloom, like that can be made literally unbeatable. Which is the reason why I put Stayer on Gallant Bloom because oh my god, if you could play Stayer and then play EX Gallant Bloom for like 2 range, 9 power, 5 speed, or even possibly like 6 speed with high gun, like oh,
Would be
that's
cool.
just a nightmare. That's literally unbeatable. It's just too obvious of a checkmate. I can't let her have that.
Yeah. Even if you don't want to do that, it's the guard and can't be pushed plays very well with all of your other attacks and like power's always value.
Yes. Yes. Oh, and I did see someone bring something up in a later game outside of the potluck.
Hmm.
I feel I should bring up. Let me just grab a few cards again.
Collect them.
Uh, oops. So, you cannot be pushed or pulled actually has a very specific kind of interaction within this set.
Hmm.
I'm honestly not sure how much I like it, but it is at least intentional. Because Kafka here, her ability, she can push or pull when she hits you, if she spends a force when setting her attack. If Angie has Stayer up, she cannot be pushed or pulled. So, like, Angie is Kafka's mentor, and, yep, she's stronger. She can just overpower that.
Those
But
effects.
Kafka's Exceed mode, she turns into like her actual monster form. Because, oh, spoilers, surprise, Kafka is actually a monster pretending to be a magical girl.
Whoa.
She's an honest magical girl, but like, she also is a lot more dangerous than she seems. She's very nice, but you know, she's got scary powers. And when Kafka has this ability up, she has to push or pull, and if she can't, she deals bonus damage.
Yeah.
And Sunless Slice, the boost on it, Metamorphosis, it has a similar but slightly stronger effect to replicate that. And they do stack, which can be a little terrifying if for some reason you let Kafka exceed and then play this boost. And those, Angie can still tank through that with the +4 guard, but it like she's still gonna eat more damage.
Yeah.
And that actually, it's like a little intentional in a weird way where Kafka's backstory is that like she turned into a monster first, and then a bunch of magical girls teamed up to kill her, and then she sort of reincarnated into a magical girl, like, hey, look, I'm normal, I'm not a monster, please don't kill me again. And Angie was actually involved in that. She was one of the magical girls who helped kill Kafka the first time. So there's sort of like, it's not like a specific one-way interaction, but there's like a deliberate thing here where Angie can use this ability to shut off being pulled or pushed, but she has to be very deliberate because like she can theoretically really mess up Kafka or get really messed up by Kafka.
Yeah. Good to get a bit of
It's
extra insurance on the defenses.
yeah. It's sort of like a it's meant to be an interaction. It's like you don't shut it down, but you do force Kafka to do some things to be scarier. But maybe that's not what you want. Maybe that is. Maybe you want her to drop this card and then like cross out or something and make her waste it, or maybe you just recklessly went up against a giant monster spider and got bit. It could happen.
Go feel each other out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking
that's
of
all I have
ultras.
to say about this. Anyway, ultras. Forever Yours. That's the one I'm talking about first because it's faster, and I don't know why, but I like talking about this one first. Forever Yours. It exists because I wanted Angie to have a mid-range control button. That's honestly about it. That's like the functionality of it, at least. I went back and forth a lot on the power and the gauge, but the idea was always that she has a very fast attack that hits from range 1 to 4. Just because, like, it's sort of incentive to build up gauge and not just burn it all on your ability, because if you save up 2 gauge, now if you kick the opponent to range 3 or 4, you always have this very fast option that is faster than anything they have.
Yeah. It's like a defensive option if she doesn't have too many of without boosting. I guess it's like kind of overlapping with on play in that sense, but
yeah. And yeah, it is like the idea there was like her kit is mostly defensive or mostly offensive, and while you can do cheeky things like play Gallant Bloom on defense expecting sweep, it's like you don't have a lot of guard or speed, especially if you let the opponent attack. But
yeah.
Forever Yours, it has enough speed that like if the opponent attacks at range 3, you can guarantee you're at least going to hit. And sort of like I said before with how she always wants to trade, like, yeah, this attack only has 4 power. If the opponent has like any guard, and even if they play a projectile or like spike, it doesn't break their guard, and if you don't have the enemy already cornered, you push them away and they can still hit you.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not actually, in my opinion, that good. It is very good, but like it is primarily used to sort of guarantee the opponent is closer to the corner than you. That's about it.
Yeah. And if you like have 3 gauge, you could use it to like guarantee pretty confidently that you will get the value of your UA, which I think is a similar set of purposes that this is meant to serve. And I have Geo here.
Yeah, you can really force that card draw, force the opponent back, put yourself in a better position. But that does cost like 3 gauge.
Yeah.
Also, this isn't like a super important relationship thing, but it's like, oh look, Sunless Slice. Also a speed 6 fast thing that hits at like range 3. I don't know if this is really a character relationship or just I just keep making speed 6 ultras that are good defensively. It's just a thing I like doing.
The trademark.
These also both gain advantage. Maybe I can say that's like a relationship thing.
Yeah.
Because like, they have similar fighting styles. Although just like how Angie pulls out the hammer for her Exceed mode, one thing I want to do with our ultras, that's the attacks where she uses her hammer.
I see. Makes sense.
Yeah. Which is why it like costs gauge, because like now she's not relying on the weight of her fists and feet. Now she's relying on the weight of her hammer, and like that has some real weight to it. Yeah. Even if she's hitting, like she has to take a moment to sort of recover, even if she doesn't want to. She can still gain cards, but she's expending resources off of it.
Yeah.
As for the boost, once again, that is a relationship thing. Which discard.
Oh, I see.
The boost. I wanted to do something where like where Angie, Felicity, and their former partner, Henrietta, all have boosts that sort of have similar functions. And yeah, Angie's Conviction, +1 power, now strike, hit, gain advantage. It's very important for like running those advantage chains that she can do with her ability. Like you play this, you spend 2 cards to activate it, but then you get 2 cards back, and you also hit the opponent for +1 power and gain advantage. Great reward on that.
Yeah.
So it's like a really important way for her to like press her offense. And then if you look at Felicity's version, Elation, it is +1 speed, but otherwise the same text.
Yeah. Speed, like,
and the part of it's like they're different fighting styles and personalities, because Felicity is a fencer with lightning speed and lightning attacks. She wants to move fast she wants to just outpace you. She wants to always be hitting you first and like forcing you to trade. But Angie is a bruiser. She wants to just hit you hard, and she's willing to trade, but like her end goal is to still just punch you really hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's why she gains power. Also, it worked out kind of nicely that it's like red for Angie, whose outfit is more red, and then yellow for
It
Felicity's outfit is more yellow.
all comes together.
And then, yeah, and then spoilers: the third girl who's gonna have this, hers will be probably devotion and have like range, which is
Yeah.
convenient because it's blue and that's Henrietta's color. But it also won't have hit gain advantage
Oh.
because I don't think there's a way to have bonus range hit gain advantage and have that not lead to like something really awful, like cross out play a really stupid projectile.
Or just kind of like
But yeah,
speed, but yeah, makes sense.
but yeah, it's based on also their motivations because Felicity is a magical girl who loves being a magical girl. She is in it because she genuinely enjoys it. It is her like excitement, her elation, that she gains her powers from. While Angie, she's very serious. She's not like in it for she's not in it for like the fame or fortune or the excitement. She's in it because she believes it's like genuinely her duty
Hmm.
as a magical girl. She has this power. She wants to use it to save people. It is way more important to do it this way than using her dang business degree. So it's like her conviction that keeps her going. As long as she keeps believing it is her job to be the one in charge, the one saving people, that's gonna keep her fighting.
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
mechanically, we saw that +1 power does make a lot of difference with your higher
Yes.
power attacks. So
Yes.
definitely
There's
have.
like 3 power boosts here, and all of them make Gallant Bloom kill you instantly, so watch out for that.
Definitely feels like there's a job you're trying to get done with that.
Yeah. It's actually a lot weaker than Jin's version where he gets to move on hit and it's
Yeah.
also on a special, but why the hell does Jin allowed that?
Many have been asking this. Another thing that people have had to move to ultras and then also nerf several times.
Yeah, like yeah, this is nerfed on an ultra, still costs 1, and it's like even then I still think it's really good.
Yeah.
There was actually a very brief window where Avasonian, like I said that +1 power and hit now strike hit gain advantage. Knowing that Jin has a stronger version, it feels a little lackluster. So like Avasonian was like, okay, crazy idea, make it 2 power and 2 force.
That's
I
good.
tried that. I instantly decided that was way too much, and
Oh
she
no.
cannot be allowed that. Especially because she has no problems paying that much force.
Yeah.
I mean, Jin doesn't either, but like, whatever.
He's cheating.
Yeah.
Now we have Western
Yeah.
Dreamer.
Western Dreamer, the very slow one. This has gone through a few iterations. The main one being that it used to be range 5, but I just decided to make it range 4.
It's fair.
I don't think I ever even mentioned that. I just like quietly changed that off the prototype version and never mentioned it. But yeah, this is like a big reward for actually saving up gauge because it's 4 gauge. You need to really like deliberately save up for that. You're not gonna get that if you're spamming her ability.
Yeah.
But at range 1 to 4, 6 power and 2 armor means it has a delta of like 8, which means that unless the opponent uses dive or spike to just outright beat it, they're gonna be eating more damage than they're dishing out.
Yeah.
And 6 guard means it's really hard to just like beat without playing spike to ignore armor or guard. So at ranges 1 or 4, she can play this with like very little risk, I think. And yeah, it's mostly a defensive card, forced to like once you have this much gauge, you can basically guarantee the enemy trades with you. It doesn't
Yeah.
actually deal as much damage as Gallant Bloom, but it's just so much safer. Unless the opponent is at range 1, because
Yeah.
if you look at the thing, it says push 2 and gain +2 power if it hits at range 1. The reason for that is that if you look at the art, it is Angie hitting the ground and making like a bunch of
I
spikes
see.
pop up out of the ground as a big earthquake. If you're
The
at range 1, you get hit by the hammer directly. You
the
take
impact
8
zone.
damage, you die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Range 1, you just that's instant death. Don't be there.
Yeah. There's a fun
It is
interaction
very
where because it's speed 1, the only thing that you wouldn't be training with is focus if you initiate, but that definitely gets killed at range 1.
yeah, if you actually like hit her, you trade. But if you try to stand your ground against the girl whose power is making earthquakes, you die.
Yeah.
Just don't. And then it closes too. That's just like the push to close to thing, it pushes you it pushes you and your opponent both closer to the corner, which is also a very deliberate thing for like she just wants to trade. She just wants to have control until she can take her finishing sprint.
Yeah.
But also it like the close does like make sense as like defensive movement. Even if you somehow whiff this, like you get to close in and threaten Gallant Bloom as always. You're always threatening Gallant Bloom. But the push two on the hit, and honestly, that's just like I thought it would be fun because like you got hit by a really, really heavy hammer. You're not just standing your ground. You're getting sent flying.
Yeah.
And if you try to stand your ground, you die.
Also helps you cover a lot of ground towards the corner if the opponent tries to cross out.
Yeah. If they cross out and like you manage to miss, you take very little damage. You close in.
Yeah.
Although they're at range 1, like cross still isn't even an option. You still just get hit because it's just such a big earthquake.
No escape.
Yes. And this one actually does also have a little reference thing. Oh, look, it's conveniently at the top.
Oh, yeah.
This is actually the real reason why Western Dreamer used to be range 5, because I literally just copied the stats over from Morning Glory, which is Kafka's version.
I actually bought Kafka for the first time in a while recently, and I forgot this version was 3 gauge.
Yeah, Kafka's just... I sometimes I'm like, why did people let me make Kafka's Ultras both 3 gauge? But anyway, yeah, Kafka's version... the joke here is that, yeah, Kafka's copying Western Dreamer, except since Kafka is a lightweight fighter who uses like needles as though they were small swords, and she uses silk threads. Instead of like swinging a big hammer and making an earthquake, she just weaves like a really, really, really big sword out of silk and then slams that down on you.
Powerful.
And it doesn't actually have as much power. It only has 5 power. It doesn't have the range 1 bonus. It does push 2, but you don't get to close. And it only has 5 guard instead of 6, so it's like slightly weaker. That has been relevant in a... That once was relevant because like anything that beats focus just beats this anyway.
Yeah.
Which is like slightly not true of Western Dreamer with the 1 extra guard. I have seen a horrible case where in a test game with Kafka, I encouraged my girlfriend Inky to play EX Morning Glory that I knew she had, so that she had like 9 effective guard, and I was like, yeah, see, I can't beat anything, so I might as well. And then I was playing Tager. I wild swung a 10 power ultra and instantly broke it, and I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. And like that wouldn't happen with Western Dreamer. Angie is just built different. She can take that kind of hit, but Kafka cannot.
Unfortunate. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the last of the little like, oh look, these 2 characters are doing similar moves. Because yes, Kafka's learning from Angie. She has her own spin on these things. They're not quite as heavy hitting as Angie's versions, but they're still there.
Yep. Parallels.
Yes.
Cool boost on this
one. And then I guess that's all I have to say about the attack itself. And then that brings us to the boost Duchess, which I need to Google something very quick because that is a literary reference. And like all 4 of these magical girls have been, but it's for a book I actually have not read and don't know anything about because I got this one just from asking a friend like, hey, what's a literary reference I can use for a horse?
The horse books.
But let's see. It is Black Beauty by the author Anna Sewell. I don't think I actually mentioned what Angie's full name is, but it's Angelina Sewell.
I see. Okay.
So like the last name is the reference.
Yeah.
Her first name's different, but the last name is a reference to that author, and that book is about it's about horses. It's like about oh gosh, I don't know. I'm bad at my literary references. I don't know this one.
I cannot by heart here. I don't know this either, but can make it anything.
It's about like taking care of horses and injured horses and all that. And Duchess, I think, is like one of the older horses that is in the book. Oh my god, I'm embarrassing myself. But yes, it is the name of a character in that book. And here it is also meant to refer to Angie's status as secretly kind of a corporate heiress, a rich girl who always has resources, wants to be in control, all of that. And yes, +1 speed, draw until you have 4 cards in hand. Really solid boost. I don't know how much people actually use it. I've only seen one person actually mention that it's strong. But it is strong, because what this means if you're using your ability to have a lot of cards, this doesn't really matter. You can very easily just keep landing strikes and chain advantage and have way more than 4 cards in hand.
Yeah.
It's like so easy. Just keep hitting your opponent. But let's say you messed up at one point. You know, you like forgot your opponent could play an EX Shoryuken, and whoops, you got stunned, you lost your gauge, you lost your attack, and now you're down on resources. And because you didn't get the reload you were banking on, now your hand size is low. This is Angie's insurance. You play this, you draw 4 cards, you draw for end of turn, you now have 5 cards in hand, and you have +1 speed, so you even have a little bonus to get you back into the game.
The emergency
So,
funds.
yeah. It's just her backup plan. If you're ever running yourself out, then you can play this, instantly reload, and just swing the fight back in your favor.
Yeah.
I've only seen like one person mention the fact that it actually encouraged them to play more aggressively.
Yeah.
Knowing that if they ever ran out of cards, if they messed up or just spent too much on boosts, they could always just play this and get it all back.
Yeah, I was going to mention, I think it plays really well into that's like, you mentioned there are different ways to approach it at the beginning. If you want to save up your gauge and have it ready for when you're ready to do something more, I guess more deliberate with it, like use an ultra or just like spam stuff at the end of the game. You can start out by just using like a few of your attacks that's like lead into each other. Like you can hit, you can spend a lot of force on conviction, hit a rage 5 move into assault. And then once you're burnt out on that, instead of using your gauge, you can just use this boost to kind of reload and still have like resources to do stuff on later turns. So it's pretty flexible. Like you can use it as a recovery technique. You can use it as like a reload after like a sequence that you planned out. Flexible.
Yeah, I think it's very important because otherwise she's like very hyper aggressive. But if she falters, you don't want it to just be like, oh, whoops, I lost 1 strike. Now the game's over. I'm just gonna concede. No.
Yeah.
Nope. She's a rich girl. She doesn't like doing it, but she's just reaching into her bank account and getting more money. And this also actually, I said it was like the last of the. Oh look, this character also does this thing, but no, I forgot that. Yes. Here's Felicity's version, which is much more ridiculous.
A bit more
Felicity's version draws 9, which means that she actually draws 10 cards and then discards 3.
Yeah.
And it also costs more. He has like more of an investment to kick it up, but like Felicity's is very chaotic. It's like she's reaching beyond what she can do because she isn't actually a rich girl. She just loves the image of it. That's just like her brand as an idol. But Angie, she actually is rich. She actually is stable. She's physically stable. She's economically stable. So her version only goes up to 5 cards, and like you don't get as explosive results, but you do get reliable results.
Yeah.
And hers is like speed, so it's better defensively, which means that like you are in a better position. Whereas Felicity's, you get power, which means you may not be in a better position, but like you get better reward if you're able to hit off that.
It's cool how the stats trade off on those ultra boosts too.
Yes, that was also a deliberate thing that it was partly just like a gameplay concern because like I wanted Felicity to have bonus speed now strike. I wanted Angie to have bonus power now strike. Just ended up on their ultras.
Makes sense.
And then I was like, hey, look, I'm just gonna make the opposite one on their reload boost.
The parallels.
Yeah. Yeah. There's something also there about like Angie, who's hyper offensive, has a defensive stat as her safety option, whereas Felicity has like a power option. Because like Felicity's deck is a lot safer, and now this says like, okay, but now I'm going to do something like very dangerous to you. Because this is like I ran out of dangerous cards, but now I'm gonna like take a breather. I'm gonna shore up defenses so that you can't just like aggress back into me.
Yeah. It's like getting ready to do something versus like recovering from doing something. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have to say about her specials and ultras, except for the last one.
Yeah, the Astral.
Yes.
Astrals are hard to design.
I said this in the Felicity one, and it is still true. I don't entirely design Astrals around a game plan. I design Astrals so that when you pull your cards out of the bag, this is the first thing you see, and you see this character doing this thing, and you're like, oh, that is their deal.
Hmm.
I don't like the stats, they're kind of secondary. They might be part of a game plan, but they're mainly there just to be like, this is what this character looks like when they are pushing their magic to the absolute limit.
I think that's a really good way to
So,
approach it. Yeah.
yeah. So for Angie's, I still don't know much about actual racehorse history, but I do know that Secretariat is a very famous racehorse for being the best there has ever been.
Advancing 8 is pretty good racing.
Yes, I need to like look up what Secretariat's actual race
That's
record
fair.
was sometime, but I just know that like I'm pretty sure Secretariat was famous for like winning by absurd lengths. Just like by the time Secretariat was at the finish line, no one else was in view. Just absurdly good at it.
Makes sense.
So I'm actually going to talk about the art here first, just because I think this is like the core key component of it,
Yeah.
which is that Angie is just she's a very no nonsense kind of person. Even though she's like beating up monsters with her bare hands, I think she's defined a lot by kind of her restraint in it. Because like you can see she's not smiling in any of these cards.
Aw.
And her conviction is what keeps her going. To her, this is like a job she has. She has to do it because no one else can do it as good as she does. But then it's like, does she even enjoy doing this? Why is she here? And then here's this card. You can't really see it because, oh my god, you have to zoom in like super close to see it. But she actually is smiling in this one. And the idea is that like now she's not doing all these martial arts moves. She's just running. She's being a horse. She's just running as fast as she can, as far as she can. And she's having fun.
She's moving.
Unfortunately for her opponent, she's also running with her hammer, dragging it along the ground, kicking up that massive death cloud, which means that when she reaches her destination, she's going to hit you, and she's going to hit you very hard.
Yep.
And yes, it has before Advance 8 and Power 9, which means that this gives it an interesting quirk where it doesn't hit anywhere unless the opponent is specifically in the corner. It doesn't matter where Angie is at all. She can do it at range 1, she can do it at range 8. But if the opponent is in the corner, they get hit. And if they're not in the corner, she runs right past them in her little horse euphoria. She just keeps going. But yeah, 9 power. If she hits you, you can't play focus to beat that.
Yeah.
Your only option is to move out of the corner, or else you just die.
Gotta leave.
And it is speed 5 now. It was briefly speed 4, but like people were like, "Hey, can it be speed 5?" And I'm like, you know what? Sure. I didn't want to give it speed 5 originally, just because it's like, yeah, if the opponent's in the corner and you have this in hand, you retreat, and like the opponent's like only option is to come in towards you. They're not allowed to do anything else
Gotta
because
play the game.
otherwise they're getting hit by Secretariat.
Yeah. Gav has like
Yeah.
similar but more extreme interactions as Taukaka's Ultra, I believe.
Taukaka's is Advance 4, which is like, it's halfway across the battlefield, but she also has like different ways of
cheating.
advancing 2. So she can like exceed and like retreat to range 4 and then strike, or use an ultra boost to set it as her wild swing, and then it becomes secretly like advance 4 past the opponent, advance 2 back towards them, and then you hit.
Yeah.
But Angie has no way of adding different movement, so it's stuck at advance 8. The only thing you have is just run straight at the wall.
Big
That's
commitment,
it.
but definitely kills people.
Yes. It is the card, even more so than Gallant Bloom, that is supposed to make you feel like you've just been run over by a horse.
Fun times.
Unfortunately, if this ever did get actually licensed, I'm pretty sure Secretariat is the first name that has to go. Because it's like the most famous horse name.
Gotta make up your own horse canon.
Yeah. I don't need to be making up more. I have so much lore for this whole setting. I don't need to be inventing fake racehorse records.
That's fair.
Although Uma Musume Pretty Derby does have like a whole bunch of like lined up knockoff names that they throw out for NPCs in the game or like side characters, so maybe I should learn how to do that.
Might be useful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Made our way through the whole kit. Went pretty in detail with everything, so I think like most of the questions I'd have to follow up have already been addressed. But do you have any last thoughts on the current state of the design? Things you want to change? how well it achieves what you wanted it to do, I guess.
Um, I've seen a few complaints, but I think everyone who's had trouble with her is honestly just bad and doesn't
Whoa.
see my glorious vision. No, no, I'm kidding. But yeah, I've seen it. I mean, you uploaded a lot of videos of matches involving her, and I do feel like it's a bit swingy, but like I'm not sure how much of that is a character. She's actually doing largely the things I want her to do. People have said a few things are kind of strong, but like maybe within reason. And it's like, yeah, maybe I don't need to change that. So I don't have any like big plans for her. Um, the main thing is like people really do play her very differently. I've seen
Yeah.
like some people play her a little more conservatively, I guess. Whereas other people play her much more aggressively. I definitely saw that even in like testing because when testing just with Inky, like the first few times Angie had a much stronger Exceed mode and Inky rushed that every
Okay.
single time. And then like later on in testing it sort of became like a different style. Like me and Inky would take on more of the front running style, which is just like slam that ability, get cards forever, never let up on the gas. And I did see some matches in the potluck where and out of the potluck even where like people just weren't using her ability. I think maybe they were forgetting about it, but it's like if you don't use her ability, I don't think she's very good. She's still actually pretty good. I mean, she's still
She
a
has good
Gauntlet
cards,
Bloom
but she definitely
regardless.
doesn't have as powerful as an econ as she's designed around.
Yeah, but it's just like I saw an equal amount of matches where she gets a ton of cards and a ton of gauge and just runs her opponent over, and then games where like the opposite happens, and the Angie player never finds a way in, or maybe just doesn't take enough of a lead and gets blown up by other people's big gauge payouts.
Yeah. Bit of a race
Like,
going on there.
yeah, it's like some part of me just thinks like, yeah, because her ability is just get cards, but it doesn't say what you have to do with them other than land strikes, which hopefully you should be doing because you are playing Exceed. Like you can do whatever you want. You can do it kind of freeform, and people have been like doing different strategies with her. Not all of them have been good, but they've been doing things
It's a
and
gamer thing
forgetting
to
to
do, I
do
think.
things.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind
So
of,
I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, she's like well balanced, versatile in a way where I'm like, I don't know if I actually need to do anything urgent for her. She's mostly fine. If I had to submit something to print forever, I would not be opposed to this, I think. I don't think she has anything like super busted.
Yeah.
I have seen a few complaints about Overtake, and I won't name who gave them, but I will say that is a +1 speed now strike boost, and if that is overpowered, I don't want to know what you think of Ken.
It's always kit dependent, but like it's probably fine.
Yeah. It is yeah, it is definitely kit dependent. I will admit, like, adding any speed to a kit that has Gallant Bloom is probably very dangerous.
Yeah.
But you know what? Guile does it too, it's fine. Like
Yeah.
I'm sure she's still probably a little over, and like if I had to change about something about her, I get the feeling it would be nerfs. But
That's fair, yeah.
like yeah, I say like, oh look, these people just don't get it. But no, no, I am actually considering everything, even things I disagree with. I'm like, I gotta be like, they might have a point.
Yeah.
I should not dismiss that. I'm joking about it, like, but yeah, I'm seriously thinking like the reason I'm like, oh yeah, +1 speed is fine. It's like, I've thought about this like 3 times over before I even put it on the card.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like if there is something that needs to be nerfed, like if there's a specific tool that needs to be made weaker, it always opens up the possibility of like transferring the power budget to somewhere else, like the overdrive maybe.
Yeah, I can always, if her Exceed mode actually ever becomes relevant, maybe I might have to nerf things, but like maybe that's fine. Maybe it's fine if she has an Exceed mode.
Yeah.
Maybe it's fine if I nerf the speed and then make Gallant Bloom hit for 8 instead.
Could be
Like
big.
someone else keeps suggesting that too. Like let people spend 3/4 for 3 power. It'll be epic. And I'm like, I can't do that. I want to so bad, but no,
It
I
would
don't
be
think her
cool.
kit.
You probably
I
should.
don't think her kit as it is can support that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Still a very
I'm
cool.
still like keeping my eye on all my magical girls. I don't have enough data of them actually fighting each other, admittedly,
Yeah.
which is like partly a design thing in that I don't want to I didn't want to risk like too much sort of power creep by testing them all against each other. And it's like, okay, Kafka's balanced. Now let's try Shelly. Now let's try Felicity. Let's try Angie. And like, oops, Angie can deal with all these characters, but oh no, she like crushes everyone else outside of this season.
The
So it's like
feedback
testing
loop.
them against. Yeah, I was testing them against other Exceed characters mostly.
Yeah,
But
I've
now
done
that I
it.
have a full set of 4 and they have all these interesting relationships, I do kind of want more data on them.
Yeah,
Although there's lots of really cool, interesting customs out there that I honestly have not played enough with. So like I don't want to like beg too hard. Like I need everyone's stat to start just playing my characters. No, I don't want to say that. It's just like
it could be
if it
cool
ever
though.
comes up, if people ever want to lab like the Kafka versus Shelly matchup or Angie versus Felicity, Kafka versus Angie, Shelly versus Felicity, like I'd love to have more data on that.
Yeah,
And then probably assemble like a real little box set of balanced characters that I could just be like, you want some cool Exceed characters that don't exist in anywhere else? Here you go. Here's my original characters.
very powerful claim to fame, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah,
I assume that honestly the custom art is like a big draw for getting 2 victories in the custom potluck.
yeah,
It did take me several months to do Angie's though, just because like real life stuff just kept coming up.
that's fair.
But I
Seems
mean
like
I
she
hope
came
it's
out.
also like my balance sensibilities, my game design skills that also keep people drawn in. But like, yeah,
Yeah,
I assume the art is still also a big part of that. And I mean,
also
I want the art to be a big part of that. I worked hard on these,
you can definitely
and I'm
tell.
still getting better.
Yeah, like
Sorry, what?
the art's really good. The design's really solid because again, you play like a lot of Seed, so you actually know like what a balanced character looks like. It's always important. And yeah, like
Yeah,
again, all of these relationships between the characters, both inside and outside of the sets, I think make them really interesting too. So you get developed
yeah,
and play with.
yeah. I try to ground these designs. Done a lot. I'm the kind of person who does like a lot of research before trying anything. I mean, I'm also the kind of person who sometimes just jumps in with no preparation whatsoever. But uh, with Exceed, I definitely played for like a couple of years before I started getting into making customs. And I also memorized like a good 60-70% of the entire card database just because my brain's broken and
The
it loves doing things like that. But
reference
yeah.
material.
Yeah, like I can point at pretty much any of these cards and be like, yeah, it's this one, it's that one, it's this one. I kind of jam them all together. Yeah.
Yeah, very solid
But
fundamentals.
yeah, but I do hope that like at least even if I don't get this full project done because I have so many more OCs to include, at least I hope I'm inspiring other people to like try and make their own original characters. Maybe even not do the art, but I'd love to see other people do art too. But like making original characters is cool.
Yeah,
You can put your character in a fighting game without having to program hitboxes or frame data. It's awesome. You can
seems
just do that. I can
true.
say that my original characters are fighting game characters and with only a few asterisks attached.
Exceed truly is a game where you can do anything. Yeah. Thanks again for the interview. Definitely covered a lot of stuff about Angie, and yeah, it's really cool that you've been bringing these to life in this Exceed fighting system we have, and I hope that this does help people if they want to make their own OCs, like give them a bit of guidance, like how to approach referencing actual characters, referencing other characters they want to make. It's a lot of detail that I think not many other people have the perspective on. So appreciate
Yeah.
having you here.
Yeah, I have an interest because, like, I don't know. I haven't made a lot of characters, and even though I've been here for like 2 or 3 years, I always see myself as kind of a newbie. So, like, I have an interest in teaching people, and like, I don't have the information to teach people, but a big thing I want is just like making things accessible. I want to be open about like, yeah, this card's based on this, the art's based on that, and like, I want to like make it sound like I'm not just pulling these cards out from like, ooh, look, I'm a wizard and I can put numbers and bam, there's an attack. I want to be like, yeah, I'm jamming like optic barrel, donkey kick. I'm taking all these things and I'm like trying to make something cool out of them. And you can too. Whoa.
Yeah.
Just, just study. Don't just I see a lot of people just putting down, like here's this character, he's all these cool mechanics and it's just like I get the passion. I don't want to kill the passion. It would still help to know the fundamentals. And that's part of what these magical girls have been. Like, I'm going to make weirder characters later, but I think it's genuinely been very helpful to study the fundamentals. And, like, anyone can do that. If
Yeah.
I had the time, if I had the knowledge, I would definitely just make, like, a guide of, like, here's all these different shapes. Here's all these different abilities you could workshop. Here's some suggestions. Like, Oh god, I would love to do that, but now I definitely don't have time or energy for that. But yeah,
There are like some resources out there if people dig for them, but having something more accessible could
people,
be cool someday.
yeah, people have been doing that. It's just like I'm the kind of person who just rambles about things I like, as evidenced by this. And like if I had the knowledge and the time and energy, resources, I would like love to be like walking people through some how to make a custom, but I don't know how much
Yeah,
there is in the market for that because like I know people just a lot of people are more experienced than me in making lots of customs faster, and there's lots of people less experienced than me who aren't so interested in going through all the fundamentals, just pumping out their like their passion projects, which love to see. Hate to see them die when they like turn out to be bad and people just give up on them, you know.
yeah, iteration's important.
I hope that people can look at this and realize that like, look, this nerd with like the line and fill tools in MS Paint can do some really incredible things.
Yeah,
So maybe I can too.
yeah, yeah.
This beautiful dream could be yours.
It could be you. Yep. Thanks again for coming on the show with me. We'll probably try
Thank
to
you
wrap
for
it up now.
having me. Yes.
Yeah.
And thank you for bringing Angie to Potluck,
Yep.
the event that you are hosting.
No one can stop me. Yep. This has been, I think, the 8th Potluck Prime Picks, and I hope that everyone enjoyed listening. See you later.
Goodbye.